Hey folks, how are you doing? Greetings, welcome. Hope you're enjoying everything so far. So, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the question of why we study public speaking. Okay, so a lot of people ask me this question about now. Like, Sammy, why? Why? Why do we have to study public speaking at this point in our college careers, or why do we even study it at all? And of course, a lot of people will tell you it's because that a communication class with public speaking is required by colleges and universities, especially if you want to transfer. And yeah, that is a reason, certainly. However, it isn't like the only reason. It's not even a very compelling reason in a lot of ways. So, what is it about this public speaking thing? And I can see the argument on the other side. It's like, well, we have Zoom now, we have Instagram, we have Snapchat, we have TikTok, we have YouTube, we have emails, we have texting, we have Facebook, we have Twitter. We have so many different ways at this point to communicate with each other. So why do we have to have this other additional thing of public speaking? Well, first off, with public speaking, when you think about Zoom or a lot of these different options for communicating, public speaking is actually involved in a lot of those. So even though it may not be in person, face to face, you're communicating through video or whatever technology you're using, you're still speaking for a sustained period of time without interruption, and you have to keep going, and you have to think to yourself, well, what does the audience need me to tell them? Or how could I entertain them? Or how could I inform them? Or whatnot. So you're still talking. And so even though it's not face to face in person, it's still basically a type of public speech, regardless of whether it's TikTok or YouTube or on Zoom or however you're speaking. So that's kind of like a big thing, is that we already are doing a lot of this anyway, whether we realize it's public speaking or not. And then there's like kind of the traditional speeches that people think of, like at a wedding, we give a speech, right? If you're the best man or the best woman, or just an honored guest, or at a graduation, you give a speech. And those are, or maybe if you get an award, you give a speech. And those are out there, certainly in the stratosphere. And sometimes this is not even a public, a special occasion that you're. What could happen very often at work or at school is your supervisor or your teacher or your professor asks you to give a public presentation or a presentation, or they might call it a PowerPoint, and you could be using PowerPoint or Google Slides, or maybe you're using Prezi or some other way to do visual aids. But the main point is that you're giving some kind of a presentation, a public speech to a group of people. At work, for example, if you're in the research and development program, your boss might say, "Hey, could you let us know what's happening in the research and development program?" And when that happens, you have, sometimes you have no time, sometimes you have a week or whatever to put together some notes and then get up and try to speak. And that might be on Zoom, or it might be in a kind of a face to face, in person situation. They won't typically ask you to talk about something you're not familiar with. It's usually like you're working in that department. Or you could have a professor, like an English professor, or maybe a professor in art class, ask you to give a presentation before class. So that happens as well. So those types of presentations happen. And sometimes we wonder, why not just do an email? Some people say, I have what I want to say, and I've just wrote it in an email, and I'm going to send it out to everybody. Is that enough? And sometimes it is, certainly. But sometimes people want that personal touch that you get with an actual presentation. Whether that be on YouTube or face to face, whatever, that personal touch you get when someone's speaking about something. They don't always want to read an email or read a manual or read the website. They'd like to know what you're doing. Also, sometimes you're working at a virtual counter where you'll be Zooming with people. Sometimes you'll have people come up to you and just ask for help if you're working customer service, and you don't usually write the answer there. In that case, you just verbally, with your mouth, you tell them what you know and try to help them out, and they kind of expect that personal touch. So the point of it is that with all the technology that exists in the world, a lot of the technology is presentations, and even if it's not a presentation, it involves some speaking skills of some kind. Even if it's not an obvious like traditional presentation. And then also we do give traditional public speeches still, face to face, and a lot of times they're video recorded, excuse me, and sent out. So that's what we're doing. So that sort of answers that question of why. And what a lot of my students have told me over the years is that they actually enjoy public speaking and giving presentations after they get some experience. So a lot of times they just get tired of it sending all the information in a text message or an email, and they just want to record a video or go on YouTube or just go to the person's office and or go to a large auditorium or classroom and just say what it is that they want to say. And the thing about it is that you will have many, 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 many good ideas over the course of your lifetime. Sometimes you'll be at work, for example, and you'll think of a better way to do things, or a more cost-effective way to do things, or a more humane way to do things, or a more environmentally conscious way to do things. And when those ideas come into your head, we want to make sure that you can present them in a way that's compelling and clear, and that they don't get pushed to the side and misunderstood or forgotten or overlooked, or they just aren't getting the attention they need. They get that attention, and you're able in a very concise manner to give people the information they want with some kind of a presentation where you're actually talking. So that's the idea of the course, and most students have found it very useful to do. Even in this current era where we have all this technology, they find it very useful to be able to give a presentation. And so that's what you'll be doing this semester. And of course, some of you have already done it in the past on other classes or in high school, or maybe you did it in another class at college. But then we'll just continue that. We just keep communicating and keep trying it out. And this is one of those things where we always keep getting better at it. So it's not one of those things where you get done and you're all through and you never learn anything more about communication. This is one of those things where you keep learning and learning and learning and learning about things. And as you're learning more and more, you keep polishing your skills and becoming a better public speaker. So this is just part of a long journey that you're on as a public speaker, and it's never going to necessarily end. It just keeps learning, and it is an adventure, and it's something that's very fun because it's natural for human beings to want to relate to each other and share their ideas, whether that's in a political context or an educational context, or maybe a fun context at a party, giving a toast, or an instruction manual, or some kind of a customer service type situation. We kind of enjoy doing that. We enjoy connecting with other human beings. We are very social creatures for that reason. All right, and then just let me know if you have any questions, but that's the basis of why we do the class and why we do public speaking. And it's more than just a requirement. It's something that you actually end up getting more out of than just the requirement, although the requirement is super very important. And from my perspective, I just really enjoy it. I enjoy listening to you guys speak and sharing your perspectives, and it's a real fun activity for me. So let me know if you have any questions, but otherwise, that's why we do it. That's the answer to the question, why do we study public speaking and giving presentations? All right, have an amazing day.